What is that thing doing to me?
This is your salvation.
I cannot hold it back much longer.
The alien woman was already dead when the human gave her the drink. Her heart had stopped. Her lungs had failed. Even the medical scanner had declared her body beyond recovery. Nobody in the market cared. They had watched her die slowly for 3 days. Then a human mechanic stopped beside her. He looked at the can in his hand. It's just an energy drink. He tilted the can to her lips. One sip. Nothing happened. The human sighed. Well, worth a shot. Then her fingers moved. Her heart slammed back to life. The medical scanner exploded. 12 kilometers above the planet, an ancient fleet received a signal it hadn't seen in 800 years. The fleet commander stared at the tiny energy signature appearing on his screen. He didn't order an attack. He ordered every ship to run. His second-in-command stared at him. Commander, what did you detect? The commander stared at the screen. A human. His second-in-command swallowed. There is only one. The commander went pale. That's what I'm afraid of. The alien woman was already dead when the human gave her the drink. Her heart had stopped. Her lungs had failed. Even the medical scanner had declared her body beyond recovery. Nobody in the market cared. They had watched her die slowly for 3 days. Then a human mechanic stopped beside her. He looked at the can in his hand. It is just an energy drink. He tilted the can toward her lips. He gave her one small sip. Nothing happened. The human sighed. Well worth a shot. Then her fingers moved. Her heart slammed back to life. The medical scanner exploded. 12 kilometers above the planet, an ancient fleet received a signal it had not seen in 800 years. The fleet commander stared at the tiny energy signature on his screen. He did not order an attack. He ordered every ship to run. His second-in-command stared at him. Commander, what did you detect? The commander stared at the screen. A human. His second-in-command swallowed. There is only one. The commander went pale. That is what I am afraid of. 3 hours earlier, Baron Cole had been thinking about a broken coolant regulator, a late delivery, and whether the mechanic at Dock 9 was trying to rip him off. That was it. He was 34 years old, covered in engine grease, running on 4 hours of sleep, and regretting the repair job more than usual. The market stretched beneath the station dome in a maze of metal stalls, glowing signs, cables, food carts, and hundreds of different species. Baron kept one hand on his tool bag and the other around his last can of Earth's energy drink. He had bought it 6 hours earlier from a vending machine because his reactor repair had gone badly. It was nothing special. A cheap stimulant. A sugary boost. Something humans drank when they needed to stay awake. Then he heard someone laugh. It was a cruel laugh. Baron slowed down. 3 aliens stood beside a support column, watching something on the ground. He looked over. That was when he saw her. Diana Vane was chained to the base of the column. Her head hung forward. Her breathing was so shallow that Baron almost missed it. A small metal sign had been fixed above her. Free. Nobody wants her. Baron stared at the sign. Then he looked at the woman. Then he looked at the sign again. Seriously? One of the aliens noticed him. Keep walking, human. Baron looked at him. Was not planning on staying. He kept walking. 5 steps. Then 3 more. Then he stopped. Something bothered him. He turned around. Diana had not moved. The market continued around her as if she were part of the furniture. A vendor shouted prices. A child chased a glowing insect. A merchant argued over a shipment. Nobody looked at her. Baron walked back. You humans really are sentimental. Baron crouched beside Diana. Up close she looked even worse. Her lips were dry. Her skin was cold. One wrist was badly swollen where the restraint had cut into it. Baron pulled a medical scanner from his tool bag. Screen flickered. Low oxygen. Critical blood loss. Organ failure. He scanned her again. The machine gave a warning tone. Baron checked the scanner battery. Then he checked her pulse. Nothing. He touched her neck again. Still nothing. The alien behind him laughed. Told you, she is dead. Baron looked up. You knew? Everyone knew. The alien shrugged. She was brought here 3 days ago. Nobody wanted her. Nobody wanted to pay for treatment, so the seller stopped feeding her. Baron stared at him. You just watched? The alien looked genuinely confused. She was not ours. Baron looked back at Diana. That answer made him angry. Maybe it was because his mother had once told him something simple. The easiest way to become a monster was to convince yourself that somebody else's suffering was not your problem. Baron reached for the chain. The alien stepped closer. Do not. Baron glanced at him. Relax. She belongs to someone. She is dying. That does not change ownership. Baron looked at the sign again. Free. Nobody wants her. He shook his head. Yeah, real classy. He pulled out his last can. Earth's energy drink. He popped the tab. He made a soft hiss. Diana did not react. Baron hesitated. He knew this was probably stupid. But walking away felt worse. He supported her head with one hand and brought the can toward her lips. He gave her one small sip. Then he waited. Nothing happened. Baron lowered the can. Well worth a shot. He was about to stand. Then Diana's fingers twitched. Baron froze. Her chest moved. Once. Then again. Her body suddenly convulsed. The scanner screamed. Every number on its display jumped upward. Baron stumbled backward. What the hell? Diana's eyes snapped open. The entire market fell silent. Her back arched as a powerful surge of energy moved through her body. The chain around her wrist tightened. The metal groaned. Then it snapped. Diana gasped. Her lungs filled with air. The scanner sparked. Baron threw up an arm. The machine exploded against the pavement. Smoke curled through the market. Diana slowly lifted her head. Her eyes locked onto Baron. For 1 second, neither of them moved. Then she whispered something in a language he did not understand. Baron leaned closer. What? Diana looked at the can in his hand. Her expression changed. It was not gratitude. It was fear. She reached for his wrist. Her trembling fingers closed around it. Baron winced. Easy. Diana stared at him. Then she looked at the can. Her voice was barely a whisper. Where did you get that? Baron looked at the drink. Then back at her. Vending machine. Far above them, something enormous awakened. Diana heard it. And for the first time since Baron had found her, she looked toward the sky with pure fear. Diana kept staring at the ceiling. Baron followed her gaze, but all he could see was the curved metal roof of the market. What is it? She did not answer. Her fingers tightened around his wrist. You need to leave. Baron looked at the broken chain beside her. Yeah, I was getting that vibe. She looked at him as if she had no idea what he meant. You do not understand. They are coming. Who? The hunters. That got his attention. Baron stood and looked around the market. The crowd started moving. Not running. Not yet. Merchants closed stalls. Families pulled children away. Several aliens disappeared through side passages. Baron noticed something else. Nobody was looking at Diana anymore. They were looking at him. He frowned. Why is everyone staring at me? Diana slowly stood. Her knees nearly gave out. Baron reached for her arm. She caught herself before he could touch her. I am fine. You were dead 30 seconds ago. I know. That is usually considered a bad sign. Diana looked down at her hands. They were trembling. Not from weakness. From energy. A vibration moved beneath her skin. Baron noticed it. You feel that? Yes. What is it? I do not know. She closed her eyes. The market suddenly became silent to her. Then it became unbearably loud. She could hear hundreds of heartbeats. She could hear machines humming inside walls. She could hear conversations across the market. She could hear the electrical current flowing through the station. Her eyes opened. What is wrong with me? Baron looked at her. You tell me. She turned toward a food stall. A merchant was quietly speaking to another alien nearly 50 meters away. Diana repeated his words exactly. Baron stared. How did you hear that? I do not know. She looked toward another corridor. There are 6 people hiding behind that door. Baron raised an eyebrow. How many? 6. He walked to the door. There were 6. Baron slowly looked back at her. Okay, that is new. Diana touched her chest. Her heartbeat was steady now. Too steady. She had spent days near death. Now she felt stronger than she had ever felt in her life. Then pain flashed through her body. She dropped to one knee. Baron caught her. What happened? My body is changing. How? I do not know. Her eyes suddenly widened. She looked at the empty can in Baron's hand. The drink. Baron looked down. What about it? It should not have worked. You said that already. No, you do not understand. She took the can from him. She examined it like it was a weapon. This compound is human? Yeah. You made it? Not me personally. Your species? Yeah. Diana stared at him. You give this to yourselves? Sometimes. How much? Baron shrugged. 1 can. Her expression hardened. No, I mean how much do humans consume? Baron thought. A lot. How much is a lot? He smiled awkwardly. Depends on the human. Diana looked horrified. Before she could ask another question, a deep vibration moved through the station. The market lights flickered. Every alien stopped. Baron felt the floor tremble beneath his boots. Then came a sound from above. A metallic roar. Diana looked toward the ceiling. They're here. The market seemed to hold its breath. The first explosion shook the market. Glass shattered. Stalls collapsed. Aliens screamed and ran. Baron grabbed Diana's arm. Move. They sprinted toward the nearest corridor. A blast tore through the market behind them. Baron looked back. A group of armored soldiers had entered through the smoke. They were not police. They moved with precision. Diana stopped. Baron nearly ran into her. What are you doing? They found me. Yeah, I noticed. One of the soldiers raised a weapon. Diana pushed Baron behind her. The weapon fired. Baron heard the shot. Diana moved before he could even react. She caught the projectile. It stopped in her palm. Silence. The soldier stared. Diana stared at her own hand. Baron leaned around her shoulder. Okay. Diana opened her fingers. The projectile dropped to the floor. Baron looked at her. Anything else you want to tell me? She shook her head. I did not know I could do that. Another soldier fired. Diana moved again. This time she crossed the distance between them so quickly that Baron barely saw her. She struck the soldier once. He flew across the market and crashed through a metal stall. The soldier stepped backward. Diana looked at them. They looked at her. For the first time, the hunters were afraid. One of them touched a device on his wrist. Target has changed. A voice answered through his communicator. What does that mean? The soldier looked at Diana. I do not know. Diana heard the transmission. He looked at Baron. They are calling for reinforcements. How many? She closed her eyes. Her hearing reached beyond the station. Then her expression changed. Hundreds. Baron looked toward the ceiling. Hundreds of soldiers? Diana shook her head. Ships. Outside the station, something massive moved across the sky. Then another. Then another. Baron walked toward the nearest window. His humor vanished. Hundreds of enormous warships were appearing above the planet. Diana stood beside him. She could feel their engines. She could feel their weapons charging. She felt something else. A strange energy running through every part of her body. Baron looked at the can in his hand. Then at Diana. Please tell me that drink did not do all this. Diana did not answer. Her eyes remained fixed on the fleet. Then she whispered something that made Baron's blood run cold. They are not here for me anymore. Baron looked at her. Then who are they here for? Diana turned toward him. You. Above them, the ancient fleet locked onto Earth's signal. And somewhere inside the largest warship, an old commander saw the same energy signature and remembered a nightmare his species had spent 800 years trying to forget. Baron stared through the broken market window. The sky above the station had disappeared beneath a wall of warships. Not dozens. Hundreds. Each ship was larger than anything Baron had ever seen outside a military archive. Their hulls were black and angular, with enormous weapons mounted along their sides. The market had gone silent. Even the aliens who had been running were now standing still. They were afraid. Baron turned toward Diana. Okay, I have a question. Diana did not look at him. Ask. Why are people more scared of those ships than they were of you? She finally looked at him. Because they know what those ships are. Great, that helps. They belong to the Varkal. Baron frowned. Who? The Predators. A deep vibration passed through the station. Diana closed her eyes. She could feel every ship above them. Every engine. Every weapon. Every living creature inside them. Her enhanced senses were becoming stronger by the second. She could hear thousands of voices. She could distinguish individual heartbeats. She could even sense the electrical currents moving through the walls. Then she heard something else. A countdown. 10 seconds. Baron looked at her. For what? Attack. Right. He grabbed his tool bag. Where do we run? Diana opened her eyes. There is nowhere to run. The first weapon fired. A beam of white energy struck the station. The entire market shook. Baron was thrown across the floor. Metal screamed. Diana remained standing. The blast had hit her directly. Smoke surrounded her. Baron pushed himself up. Diana. She stepped out of the smoke. Her clothes were damaged. Her skin was untouched. Baron stared. That should have killed you. Diana looked at her hands. I think it should have. Another weapon charged. Diana heard it before anyone else. She turned. A second blast came toward them. She moved. Not quickly. Instantly. One moment she was beside Baron. The next she was standing between him and the weapon. She raised one hand. The blast stopped. A sphere of energy formed around her palm. The weapon's energy twisted into it. Then disappeared. The market fell completely silent. Baron stared at her. Did you just catch a laser? Diana looked at her hand. I think so. That's not a thing. He looked at him. It is now. Another wave of soldiers entered the market. Their armor was enormous. Their weapons were designed for heavy combat. The first soldier charged. Diana stepped forward. He swung his weapon. She caught it. The weapon bent in her hand. Soldier froze. Diana pulled once. The armored alien flew across the market and crashed into a wall. 3 more attacked together. Diana moved between them like a blur. One fell. Then another. Then the third. Baron watched in disbelief. Diana stopped. Her breathing was calm. She looked almost confused by what she had just done. Then one of the soldiers fired from behind. Baron shouted. Diana. She turned before the weapon reached her. The projectile struck her chest. For one terrible second, she stood completely still. Then she looked down. The projectile had broken against her body. She pulled it from her clothing and dropped it. Baron stared at her. Okay, that is seriously messed up. Diana almost smiled. Then she heard something. Her expression changed. More are coming. How many? She listened. Thousands. Baron looked toward the sky. Thousands of soldiers? No. He looked at the fleet. Thousands of ships. Baron's face fell. That's a lot. Diana nodded. Then something strange happened. Her body began glowing. Not brightly. At first it was barely visible. A faint light moved beneath her skin. He grabbed her chest. What is happening? Baron stepped closer. Diana? I do not know. Her knees weakened. Baron caught her. She looked at him. I am still changing. How much stronger are you going to get? I do not know. A voice echoed through the market. Every soldier stopped. Every weapon lowered. A holographic figure appeared above the battlefield. It was a massive armored alien with 4 pale eyes and a scar running across his face. Baron looked up. Diana went completely still. She recognized him. Brace. A hologram looked directly at her. His voice was deep and controlled. Diana Vane. She stepped forward. How do you know my name? Brace ignored the question. His eyes moved toward Baron. Then toward the cannon Baron's hand. His expression changed. For the first time, fear appeared on his face. Put the container down. Baron looked at the can. This? Yes. What is it? Brace stared at him. You do not know? No. The commander was silent. Then he said something that made every soldier in the market look at Baron. You have just given her Earth's energy drink. Baron frowned. Yeah. Race's face hardened. Then you have made the worst mistake your species has ever made. Baron looked at Diana. Diana looked at Brace. What does the drink do? She asked. Brace did not answer. Instead, he turned toward his soldiers. Do not kill the human. Baron raised an eyebrow. Nice to know. Brace continued. Do not kill the woman either. Diana's expression hardened. Why? Brace looked at her. Because we need to know how far the transformation has progressed. Then the hologram disappeared. The soldiers began retreating. Baron watched them go. They are leaving? Diana listened to the ships above. No. He looked toward the sky. They are making room. Baron frowned. For what? Diana's face went pale. A shadow passed over the station. Then another. Something much larger than the warships was descending from orbit. Baron looked up. What the hell is that? Diana whispered. I do not know. Then every ship in the fleet moved away from the object. For the first time, even the predators appeared afraid. Baron had seen warships before, but never anything that made an entire fleet retreat without firing a single shot. And somewhere inside the darkness above them, something opened its eyes. The thing descending from orbit was not another warship. Baron knew that before it became visible. Every ship in the fleet was moving away from it. Not attacking. Not preparing. Retreating. The object emerged from the darkness above the station, surrounded by a pale blue field that bent the stars behind it. Baron stared upward. That is not normal. Diana did not answer. She was staring at the same object. Her enhanced hearing caught thousands of voices across the station, but one sound stood above all of them. Fear. The predators were afraid. Then the object stopped. A signal spread through the station. Every screen flickered. Every communication channel went silent. A voice followed. Return the woman. Diana stepped forward. No. The voice returned. He has consumed the human compound. Baron looked at the can in his hand. Human compound? Diana turned toward him. They know what it is. Apparently. The voice continued. You do not understand what you have done. Baron looked up. Funny, everybody keeps saying that. For the first time, the voice sounded uncertain. Human, put the container down. Baron looked at the can. Then at Diana. No. The signal disappeared. The object began moving away. Baron blinked. They came all this way to tell us to drop a drink? Diana shook her head. No. She looked toward the sky. They came to confirm something. What? That the drink is real. Before Baron could answer, every warship in orbit jumped into hyperspace. One after another, the fleet vanished. The market was left in stunned silence now. Baron looked at Diana. So we won. Diana slowly shook her head. No. She looked at the empty sky. They are afraid. Baron frowned. Of you. Diana looked down at her hands. I think they are afraid of what I am becoming. Far away, inside the largest surviving warship, Brace stood alone in the command chamber. Baron entered behind him. You ordered a retreat. Yes. From one station? Yes. With hundreds of ships? Yes. Baron stared at him. We could have captured her. Brace turned. You did not see what I saw. I saw an injured alien. You saw the beginning. Baron folded his arms. Then tell me what she is. Brace looked at the energy reading on the display. The signal was still growing. She drank the human compound. Baron frowned. An energy drink. Brace's expression hardened. Do not call it that. Why? Because that name makes it sound harmless. Baron stepped closer. What is it? Brace was silent for several seconds. Then he opened an ancient archive. The screen filled with images of worlds burning. Cities collapsing. Armies disappearing. Entire species reduced to scattered survivors. Baron stared. What am I looking at? Historical records. From when? 800 years ago. Brace brought up a symbol. It was almost identical to the symbol printed on Baron's can. Baron's face changed. That is the same mark. Yes. What does it mean? Race looked at him. Humanity. Perrin laughed nervously. Humans are not dangerous. Race did not react. They were not dangerous to you. What does that mean? It means your species never fought them. Perrin looked back at the archive. What happened? Race lowered his voice. We did. The room became silent. Our fleet found a human colony. We believed they were weak. We believed their technology was primitive. We attacked. And? Race touched the display. A single human ship appeared. It looked old. Small. Almost harmless. We lost 17 ships. Perrin stared. To one ship. No. Race looked toward him. To one human. Perrin's confidence disappeared. What did the human drink? Race shook his head. Nothing. That answer frightened Perrin more than anything else. Race continued. That is why this is different. He enlarged Diana's energy reading. He drank the human compound. Perrin stared at the screen. How powerful can it make her? We do not know. Then why retreat? Race looked at him. Because the signal is still increasing. Back on the station, Diana suddenly dropped to one knee. Perrin caught her. Diana? Her entire body was shaking. Energy pulsed beneath her skin. She gripped his arm. It is getting stronger. What is? Everything. She closed her eyes. For a moment, the entire station became clear to her. She could feel the engines. She could feel the metal. She could feel every living creature. Then she sensed something farther away. Earth. Perrin saw her expression change. What did you find? Diana opened her eyes. A planet. What planet? She looked at him. Yours. Perrin froze. What about it? Diana stared toward the stars. There are billions of humans there. She looked at the can in his hand. Then she whispered. Perrin, how many of them drink this? He gave a nervous laugh. I told you, a lot. Diana's face went pale. How many is a lot? Perrin thought about it. Millions probably. Diana slowly looked toward the sky. The fear in her eyes returned. Then you need to find out. Perrin frowned. Why? Diana looked at the empty can. Because if one sip did this to me, your species may already possess something the galaxy has spent centuries trying to understand. Perrin stared at her. You are saying humans have been drinking this stuff for years? Yes. And nobody noticed? Diana shook her head. That is what frightens me. Perrin looked down at his can. For the first time, the ordinary metal container felt heavier in his hand. Above them, the station alarms began sounding again. This time, Diana did not look toward the sky. She looked toward Earth. A distant communication signal reached the station. Perrin's scanner displayed one message. Unknown fleet detected. Diana read it. Then she whispered one final sentence. They are coming for the drink. And this time, they were not coming to capture Diana. They were coming for humanity. That was the moment Perrin realized the drink had never been the miracle. It was the warning. The message reached Earth before Perrin could understand what it meant. Unknown fleet detected. He stared at the scanner. Then he looked at Diana. How many? Diana closed her eyes. She listened. More than the last fleet. Perrin let out a slow breath. Great. Diana looked at him. You are not frightened. Oh, I am. He picked up his tool bag. I just have a really bad habit of looking calm when everything is going to hell. Diana almost smiled. Then the station shook again. This time there was no explosion. A communication channel opened. A woman's voice filled the market. This is the Galactic Council. Every remaining alien stopped moving. Perrin looked around. The what? Diana answered quietly. The people who decide which civilizations are allowed to survive. That sounds friendly. The voice continued. Human representative, identify yourself. Perrin looked around. Nobody else was answering. He pointed at himself. Me? Yes, you. He sighed. Baron Cole. Baron Cole, you are in possession of a restricted human compound. Baron looked at the can. This? Yes. He turned toward Diana. You said it was an energy drink. It is. The voice became sharper. Do not consume it. Baron raised an eyebrow. I wasn't planning to. A pause followed. Then the voice said something that changed the mood of the entire market. Do not give it to anyone else. Diana looked toward Baron. Baron's expression became serious. Why? The voice did not answer immediately. Instead, a massive holographic image appeared above the marketplace. An ancient chamber filled with alien representatives appeared in the air. Hundreds of species watched them. Some looked curious. Others looked afraid. At the center of the chamber stood Alaric. He was an ancient being made of soft blue light. Unlike the others, he did not look angry. He looked worried. Show them the evidence, Alaric said. A holographic recording appeared. It showed Diana drinking from the can. Then the recording accelerated. Her heart restarted. Her wounds closed. The chain broke. The weapon stopped in her hand. The recording ended with the damaged market. Baron watched the footage. That was quick. Diana stared at the council. Alaric spoke again. That was one sip. A council member laughed. One alien drank a stimulant and survived. Another voice joined in. Hardly a galactic threat. A third alien laughed. Humans have always exaggerated their technology. Baron looked at Diana. Do they always talk this much? Apparently. Alaric raised one hand. The chamber became silent. You are making the same mistake. A council member turned toward him. You believe the human species is dangerous? Alaric looked directly at Baron. I believe we do not understand them. Vader appeared beside him. The silver-skinned scientist looked at the data surrounding Diana. We have completed our analysis. The council waited. Vader continued. The substance increases cellular energy production. A council member shrugged. How much? Vader hesitated. Enough to kill most known species. The chamber became silent. But the woman survived, someone said. Yes. Why? That is what we are trying to understand. Vader expanded the scan. Diana's energy levels appeared as a rising graph. The problem is not that the substance enhanced her. He pointed at the graph. The problem is that the enhancement has not stopped. The chamber erupted. Questions filled the room. How long will it continue? Can she control it? Can the effect be reversed? Can humans survive it? Vader looked toward the last question. That is unknown. A council member leaned forward. Then investigate the human species. Vader nodded. The chamber changed. Earth appeared above them. Blue. Small. Quiet. Almost harmless. A council member stared at it. That is their home? Yes. How many humans? Vader brought up the population data. Approximately 8 billion. The chamber went silent again. One alien finally spoke. 8 billion potential subjects? Vader shook his head. We do not know how many consume the compound. Find out. The investigation began. Satellite networks were accessed. Medical databases were analyzed. Commercial records were examined. Factories were located. Distribution routes were mapped. The results came faster than anyone expected. The first report appeared. Millions of containers produced each year. Another report followed. Production has continued for decades. Then another. Available without military authorization. A council member frowned. Who is permitted to use it? Vader looked confused. Anyone. The council went silent. Military personnel? Anyone. Scientists? Anyone. Government officials? Anyone. A council member leaned forward. Children? Vader checked the records. He hesitated. Not recommended. Baron laughed despite himself. Diana looked at him. What? Nothing. He shook his head. They are discovering energy drinks. Vader heard him. His expression hardened. You do not understand. Baron looked toward the hologram. What don't I understand? Vader answered. This substance is not a weapon in your civilization. No. It is a consumer product. Yes. And your people consume it voluntarily. Baron shrugged. Sometimes. How many? Baron thought about it. A lot. Vader stared at him. How many humans consume it? Baron looked at Diana. Diana already knew what was coming. The council waited. Baron finally answered. Millions. Vader checked the data. His face changed. Billions. Baron frowned. What? Vader turned toward the council. Billions of humans have consumed this substance. The chamber erupted. Diana slowly closed her eyes. She understood before Baron did. The council was no longer looking at one transformed alien. They were looking at Earth. One council member stood. Then humanity has been creating enhanced individuals for generations. Vader shook his head. No. Everyone looked at him. We have not found evidence of widespread transformation among humans. Council member relaxed. Then the substance is harmless to humans. Vader stared at the data. That is not what I said. The chamber went silent. Baron leaned toward Diana. What is he getting at? Diana whispered. He does not know what happens when humans use it. Alaric turned toward the council. Then do not attack Earth. A military representative immediately objected. We cannot allow 8 billion unknown variables to remain outside our control. Alaric's voice remained calm. You are afraid of something you have not measured. We are protecting the galaxy. No. Alaric looked toward the image of Earth. You are protecting your fear. The vote began. Baron watched the council members choose their positions. Some wanted negotiations. Some wanted the drink confiscated. Others demanded Earth's destruction. Then the final vote appeared. The result was overwhelming. Earth would be contained. Baron stared at the message. They are going to attack us. Diana nodded. They are afraid. Baron looked down at the can. Of this. Diana shook her head. No. He looked toward the holographic image of Earth. They are afraid of what this could make you. The communication channel closed. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Then Baron looked at Diana. You know what the worst part is? What? He held up the can. I was going to buy another one tomorrow. Diana stared at him. Then, despite everything happening around them, she laughed. It was the first real laugh Baron had heard from her. But the moment passed quickly. A new signal appeared on the scanner. Then another. Then thousands. Diana's smile disappeared. He looked toward the sky. They have arrived. Baron followed her gaze. Above Earth, something enormous began blocking out the stars. The galaxy had made its decision. And humanity had not even realized there was a war coming. The first ship appeared above Earth at dawn. It was so large that people on the ground mistook it for an eclipse. Then another ship arrived. Then another. Within minutes, the sky above the planet was filled with black warships. Lena Lane stood inside the Human Research Center, staring at the orbital display. He had spent the last 2 hours studying Diana's readings. Now she understood why the aliens were afraid. She also understood something worse. The drink had never been tested properly. Lena turned toward the other scientists. How many people have consumed it? One scientist checked the database. We have no exact number. Estimate. Several billion. Lena stared at the screen. Then we have been looking at this completely wrong. The scientist frowned. How? We thought the drink gave people energy. She pointed toward Diana's scan. It may be changing the way living cells process energy. Another scientist looked at her. Could humans survive that? Lena paused. I do not know. That answer frightened everyone. Back in the alien marketplace, Baron watched the ships gathering above the planet. Diana stood beside him. She could feel the fleet. Thousands of engines. Millions of weapons. Her body reacted to the threat before her mind could process it. The energy inside her became stronger. Baron noticed. You are glowing again. Diana looked at her hands. I can feel them. The ships? Yes. How? I can feel the energy inside them. Baron looked toward the sky. That seems useful. It is terrifying. She looked at him. I can feel every weapon. Baron swallowed. How many? Too many. A communication signal suddenly appeared. The Galactic Council returned. Alaric's blue figure appeared above the marketplace. This is your final warning. Baron looked up. About what? Earth must surrender the compound. Baron raised the can. This? Yes. And if we say no? Alaric looked toward Diana. The council has already voted. Diana stepped forward. You are afraid of something you do not understand. Alaric's expression remained calm. Yes. That answer surprised her. He continued. That is why I asked them not to attack. Baron frowned. But they are attacking. Alaric looked toward the sky. I failed. The hologram flickered. Then disappeared. Diana stared upward. What does that mean? Baron did not answer. The first orbital weapon fired. A beam crossed the sky. Diana raised her hand. The beam stopped. The entire planet seemed to hold its breath. Diana pushed forward. The beam changed direction and disappeared into space. Baron stared. You just redirected an orbital weapon. Diana looked at him. I did not know I could do that. A second weapon fired. Then a third. Diana raised both hands. A massive energy shield formed above the city. The weapon struck it. The shield shook. Diana's knees bent. Baron grabbed her shoulder. You okay? Yes. The shield cracked. Diana gritted her teeth. No. The alien fleet began firing together. The sky became a storm of light. Diana pushed harder. The shield expanded. But the fleet was too large. The energy began breaking through. Baron looked around. People were running through the streets. Families were searching for shelter. Children were crying. Diana saw them. Something changed in her expression. She remembered the market. The chains. The sign. Free. Nobody wants her. Then she looked at the people below. Nobody was going to chain them. Nobody was going to decide they were worthless. Not while she could stand. Diana stepped forward. The energy field around her exploded outward. The entire sky flashed white. Every weapon stopped. Every warship lost power. The fleet commander stared at his dead controls. Race whispered one word. No. Heron looked at him. What happened? Brace stared at Diana's energy signature. She is adapting. To the weapons. To everything. On Earth, Diana slowly lowered her hands. The sky was silent. Baron looked at her. You just disabled an entire fleet. Diana shook her head. No. She looked at the sky. I only stopped the weapons. Baron frowned. What is the difference? Diana's eyes narrowed. The ships are still here. A deep vibration passed through the ground. The largest warship began descending. Its outer armor opened. Something enormous stepped onto the surface. Baron stared. That looks bad. Diana moved in front of him. Stay behind me. The creature raised a massive weapon. Diana raised one hand. The weapon fired. She caught the blast. But this time the energy did not disappear. It entered her body. Diana gasped. Her eyes widened. The energy spread through her. Her power surged. The alien creature stepped backward. Baron stared at Diana. Did you just absorb that? Diana looked at her hands. Yes. She smiled for the first time. I think I did. Across the planet, Lena watched the readings explode. Her scientists shouted. Her energy output just doubled. Then another reading appeared. Tripled. Lena stared. Stop measuring it. The scientist looked at her. Why? Because we do not know where the ceiling is. Baron heard Diana whisper something. What? He looked toward the stars. They are sending another fleet. Baron stared at the sky. How many? Diana closed her eyes. Her senses reached farther than before. She felt distant ships. More than thousands. More than millions. Her eyes opened. I cannot count them. Baron's expression hardened. Then what do we do? Diana looked at him. For the first time we stopped running. She held out her hand. Baron took it. Then every communication channel on Earth opened at once. Lena's voice came through. Baron, we found something. He looked toward the nearest speaker. What? Lena answered carefully. The drink affects humans differently. Baron stared at the can. How differently? Lena took a breath. We do not know yet. Diana looked at Baron. then at the billions of people beneath the alien fleet. The answer was obvious. The galaxy had made one terrible mistake. It had attacked Earth before humanity understood what it had been drinking. And now humanity was about to find out for itself. Lena Lane's voice came through every emergency channel on Earth. We need volunteers. Baron stared at the communicator. Volunteers for what? Lena hesitated. For the drink. The command center went silent. Baron looked at Diana. He was staring at the can in his hand. You said humans react differently, Baron said. Yes. How? We don't know. That's reassuring. Lena continued. We ran simulations using Diana's biological readings. Her cells are converting the drink's energy into something we cannot identify. Baron looked at Diana. Can humans survive it? Lena took a breath. We don't know. Baron laughed once. Everybody keeps saying that today. Then the planet shook. The alien fleet had resumed its attack. Diana looked toward the sky. They are coming again. Baron tightened his grip around the can. Then we need to figure this out fast. Lena's voice became urgent. Baron, there is one problem. What? The drink was never designed as a weapon. I know. No, you don't understand. Human bodies are not supposed to react like Diana. Baron looked at the can. What happens if I drink it? Silence. Diana turned toward him. No. Baron looked at her. You don't know what it will do. That is why you should not try. Lena interrupted. Baron, wait. He looked at the communicator. What? We need a controlled test. Diana stepped closer. No. Lena's voice softened. If we do nothing, those ships will destroy the planet. Diana looked toward the sky. The fleet was already firing. Energy weapons streaked through the atmosphere. The shield around the city shook. Diana raised both hands. The shield expanded. This time she was struggling. Her breathing became heavier. Baron watched her. She was powerful. But she was still one person. One person against an entire fleet. He looked down at the can. Then at the terrified people sheltering beneath the buildings. He thought about the market. He remembered the sign above Diana. Free. Nobody wants her. He had stopped because he could not stand there and watch someone die. Now billions of people were depending on someone to stop watching. Baron opened the can. Diana turned sharply. Baron. He smiled. Worth a shot. Don't. He raised the can. I'm sorry. Then he drank. Nothing happened. For 3 seconds, Baron stood completely still. Diana stared at him. Lena stared at the monitor. The fleet continued firing. Then Baron's heartbeat changed. Thump. 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 Each beat became louder. The ground beneath his boots cracked. Diana's eyes widened. Baron. He looked at his hands. Energy moved beneath his skin. His vision sharpened. The world slowed. A falling piece of metal drifted through the air. He reached out and caught it before it hit the ground. Baron stared at the metal. What the hell? Lena's voice came through the communicator. Your neural activity just increased by 400%. Baron looked toward the sky. He could see the weapons before they fired. He could see the ships moving. He could hear the engines. He could feel the energy inside the city. Diana stared at him. You can sense them. Baron nodded. I can sense everything. A weapon fired toward the city. Baron moved. Diana barely saw him. He appeared above the street and raised one hand. The weapon stopped. Not because of a shield. Baron was holding it. Energy twisted around his fingers. He looked at Diana. Okay. He smiled. This is definitely not normal. Then he closed his hand. The weapon collapsed into a sphere of light. He threw it back toward the fleet. The sphere struck a warship. The ship disappeared in a silent flash. Across the planet, the alien command center erupted with alarms. Race stood frozen. Perrin stared at the tactical display. That was the human. Ray said nothing. Perrin turned toward him. He drank it. Race's face went pale. No. He drank the compound. Ray stared at the growing energy signature. That is impossible. Vader appeared on the command screen. It is happening. Race turned toward him. Can you stop it? Vader looked at the readings. No. Can we kill him? Vader hesitated. I don't know. Race looked toward the planet. For the first time, he understood the true danger. Diana had been the warning. Baron was the answer. But then something even stranger happened. Across Earth, emergency broadcasts began showing volunteers stepping forward. Soldiers, doctors, engineers, pilots, mechanics, parents, workers, people who had never held a weapon. Lena stood before the camera. If this works, we may survive. She held up a can. This is not an order. Thousands of people opened their cans. Diana watched the broadcast. Baron landed beside her. He looked at the people below. They're really doing it. Diana nodded. They're choosing to. The first human drank. Then another. Then thousands. Then millions. Across Earth, energy signatures began appearing. Lena stared at the readings. Her face went pale. Baron. What? She looked at the global map. There are too many. Diana slowly turned toward the horizon. The sky began filling with light. Not from the alien fleet. From Earth. Baron looked around. Humanity was waking up. And the galaxy had just given it a reason to stop being afraid. The alien fleet suddenly stopped firing. Every commander was watching the same impossible display. Thousands of new signals were appearing across the planet. Then thousands became millions. Race whispered, "What have we done?" Heron looked at him. "You told us humans were dangerous." Ray shook his head. "I was wrong." Heron stared. "How?" Race watched Earth's surface begin glowing beneath the clouds. "I thought they were dangerous when they were threatened." He pointed toward the planet. "We just gave them a reason to unite." On Earth, Baron looked at Diana. She looked back at him. For the first time, neither of them knew what humanity was about to become. Then the first human rose into the sky. And behind the human, millions of lights began rising into the darkness. The first human reached the clouds. Then another followed. Then another. Within minutes, the sky above Earth was filled with points of light. Baron stood on the roof of the research center and stared upward. He could barely believe what he was seeing. Humans were flying. Some moved like streaks of light. Others hovered motionless above the cities. Some surrounded themselves with glowing shields. Others simply stood on rooftops, staring at their own hands. The alien fleet had stopped firing. Nobody aboard those ships understood what was happening. Lena Lane watched the global readings from inside the command center. Her hands moved rapidly across the controls. "Baron, we have a problem." Baron looked toward the communicator. "What kind?" "I don't think the transformation is random." "What do you mean?" "Everyone is changing differently." A soldier on the ground lifted a transport vehicle with one hand. A pilot suddenly moved faster than the aircraft around him. A scientist touched a damaged computer and instantly understood its circuitry. A young woman raised her hands and created a protective barrier around an entire building. Lena stared at the readings. The drink is responding to individual biology. Baron looked at Diana. "So everyone gets different abilities?" Diana shook her head. "Not everyone." Baron frowned. "What does that mean?" "Some people are not changing." Lena checked the data. He's right. Across the planet, millions of people had consumed the drink. Some showed almost no reaction. Others experienced minor increases in strength or alertness. But a smaller group was transforming dramatically. Lena looked at the numbers. "We have several million high-level transformations." Baron stared. "Several million?" "Yes." He looked toward the sky. "That is insane." Diana stepped beside him. "No." Baron looked at her. "What?" She pointed toward the horizon. "That is only the beginning." A massive explosion lit the sky. The alien fleet had resumed its attack. This time the humans were ready. 100 human pilots launched from the atmosphere. They moved faster than any aircraft could possibly move. Alien weapons fired. The human pilots twisted through the attacks. One pilot accelerated straight toward a warship. The ship fired everything it had. The pilot raised one hand. The weapon stopped. Then he pushed forward. The warship split apart. Baron stared. "Okay." Diana smiled. Humans learn quickly. Another fleet entered the system. Then another. The aliens had decided to overwhelm Earth with numbers. Their mistake was assuming numbers still mattered. Across the planet, transformed humans began moving. Some flew. Some teleported. Some manipulated energy. Some could see through solid objects. Others could understand machines simply by touching them. Engineers entered abandoned alien ships. Within minutes they understood the technology. Scientists began reverse engineering alien weapons. Pilots studied enemy flight systems. Soldiers moved through battlefields faster than targeting computers could track. And ordinary civilians discovered abilities that no scientist had predicted. A mother shielded an entire shelter from an orbital strike. A mechanic repaired a damaged alien engine with his bare hands. A doctor stabilized hundreds of wounded people without equipment. A teenager stopped a falling building before it collapsed. Humanity was not becoming an army. It was becoming something the galaxy had never seen before. A civilization where almost every person had a different advantage. Lena watched the data climb. Then she noticed something strange. One group was becoming stronger than the rest. She zoomed in. Diana's energy signature was at the center. Baron's was close behind. The thousands of other signatures were beginning to approach them. Baron. What now? Diana is not the strongest anymore. He looked at Diana. She seemed almost amused. I told you. Baron raised an eyebrow. Told me what? The drink does not create power. He frowned. What does it create? Potential. Before Baron could answer, every screen in the command center turned red. A new signal had entered the system. Lena stared at it. That is not another fleet. Baron looked at her. What is it? She shook her head. I don't know. Diana suddenly became completely still. Her expression changed. She could feel something. Something beyond the ships. Beyond the planet. Beyond the solar system. She looked toward the stars. It is coming. Baron stepped closer. What is? Diana whispered. Something that noticed us. Across the alien fleet, alarms began sounding. Ray stood frozen on his command bridge. Heron looked at the tactical display. What is that? Race did not answer. The display showed a region of space bending inward. Stars disappeared. Space itself appeared to fold. Then a voice reached every communication system in the galaxy. It was not loud. It did not need to be. You have awakened. Every human on Earth heard it. Every alien heard it. Every fleet heard it. Diana looked upward. The voice continued. You have consumed the catalyst. Lena stared at her monitors. What is a catalyst? Vader's voice suddenly appeared through the communication network. His voice was shaking. We have found references to it. Race looked toward the screen. Where? Ancient records. From whom? Vader hesitated. The first civilizations. Race's expression hardened. What do the records say? Vader looked toward Earth. They called it the beginning. Silence filled the command bridge. Baron looked at Diana. Beginning of what? He did not answer. The stars above Earth began disappearing one by one. Not exploding. Not moving. Simply vanishing. A massive shape was forming beyond them. It was larger than any ship. Larger than any station. Larger than anything humanity had ever built. Diana stepped forward. The energy surrounding her intensified. Baron stood beside her. Lena watched the readings. Her voice became quiet. Baron. Yeah? The energy drink did not create the signal. He looked at her. Then what did? Lena swallowed. It was already there. Diana finally understood. The drink had not created something new. It had awakened something that had always been inside humanity. The galaxy had not accidentally discovered a weapon. It had triggered a transformation. And whatever was coming had been waiting for it. Across Earth, billions of humans looked toward the sky. Some were afraid. Others were angry. But none of them ran. The alien fleet began retreating again. This time Brace did not give the order. His ship simply fled. Heron stared at him. Commander, where are we going? Brace looked at Earth. Anywhere away from that. Heron looked at the planet. But humanity is still here. Ray shook his head. No. He looked at the growing darkness beyond the stars. Humanity is no longer what we came to conquer. On Earth, Baron looked at Diana. She was staring into the darkness. Are you afraid? She was silent for several seconds. Then she answered. Yes. Baron nodded. Good. He looked at him. Why? He smiled. Means we're taking this seriously. Diana laughed softly. Then she reached for his hand. Together, they looked toward the approaching darkness. Behind them, millions of transformed humans rose into the sky. The galaxy had spent centuries fearing humanity's weapons. It had never considered what would happen if humanity itself became the weapon. Now it was about to find out. And somewhere beyond the stars, Draxaid opened its eyes. The stars disappeared. Thousands vanished together. Across Earth, millions of transformed humans froze. Even Diana froze. The darkness had become something else. A shape emerged from it. Draxaid. No ship could carry something that large. Space bent around its body as if the universe itself was trying to move away. Baron stared upward. Okay. He swallowed. That is definitely worse. Diana did not smile. She was staring at the darkness. I can feel it. What is it? I do not know. Then Draxaid spoke. His voice did not come through speakers. It came through the minds of every living creature in the system. You have awakened the catalyst. Across the planet, people looked at one another. Lena stood frozen inside the command center. Vader appeared on her display. His face was pale. Draxaid. Lena looked at him. You know it? I know the name. What is it? Vader looked toward the stars. The oldest records call it the Last Predator. Baron heard him. Last Predator? Vader nodded. It does not conquer civilizations. Then what does it do? It waits. Diana stepped forward. Waits for what? Vader looked at her. For civilizations to become powerful enough to notice. The room went silent. Draxaid moved closer. The planet trembled. Every enhanced human felt it. Diana closed her eyes. Energy surged through her body. Her abilities had grown since the first sip. This was different. For the first time, she could feel the limits of her own power. Draxaid was beyond them. Baron stepped beside her. You do not have to fight it alone. Diana looked at him. I know. Behind them, millions of humans began rising into the sky. Soldiers. Pilots. Doctors. Engineers. Parents. Children who understood what was happening. They formed a vast human shield around Earth. Draxaid looked at them. You believe numbers will protect you? Baron stepped forward. No. Draxaid's attention shifted toward him. Baron held up the can. We are still figuring out what this stuff does. For the first time, Diana smiled. Draxaid raised one hand. Space folded. A wave of energy swept toward Earth. Diana moved first. She flew beyond the atmosphere. Baron followed. Millions of humans followed them. The wave struck. Diana raised both hands. The impact pushed her backward. She screamed. Baron reached her. Diana. I can hold it. You sure? No. Good enough? He grabbed her hand. Their energy combined. The wave slowed. Then thousands of human energy fields joined theirs. Then millions. Their combined energy formed a shield around the planet. Draxaid watched. You are learning. Diana looked at it. No. She looked behind her. At first we were surviving. Her eyes brightened. Now we are choosing. She pushed forward. The shield became a wave. It struck Draxaid. The cosmic entity moved backward. Every surviving fleet saw it. The being that had never been pushed back moved. Ray stared at his command display. Baron whispered. It is afraid. Ray shook his head. No. He watched Diana. It is surprised. Draxaid attacked again. This time Diana did not meet it with strength. She adapted. She redirected its energy. Baron understood what she was doing. Keep it coming. Diana looked at him. You have an idea? Not really. That is not reassuring. Baron smiled. Trust me. Diana laughed. Then she opened herself to the energy. Draxaid's attack entered her body. For a moment she disappeared inside a sphere of white light. Baron shouted her name. The light collapsed. Diana stood there. Different. The energy around her had become nearly invisible. She looked at Draxaid. I understand now. What? The drink did not make me a god. Baron stared. Then what did it do? Diana looked toward Earth. It gave me enough power to become what I choose to be. She raised one hand. The stars returned. The darkness shattered. Draxaid tried to move. It could not. Millions of human energy fields surrounded it. Diana closed her hand. The cosmic entity was pulled into a sphere of compressed light. Draxaid's voice echoed one final time. You are only beginning. Then the sphere disappeared. Silence filled the solar system. The alien fleets remained motionless. Race opened a communication channel. His voice reached Earth. Humanity. Baron looked up. Race continued. We surrender. Baron raised an eyebrow. That's it. Race looked exhausted. We have fought civilizations for thousands of years. He looked toward Diana. We have never seen one rise this quickly. Diana lowered herself beside Baron. The energy around her faded. She looked tired. She looked almost like the woman Baron had found in the market. Baron smiled. You okay? She nodded. I think so. He looked at the can. You want another? Diana stared at him. You are joking. Maybe. She took the can. Then she smiled. The galaxy had spent centuries searching for gods. It had studied ancient civilizations. It had built weapons capable of destroying planets. It had feared monsters beyond the stars. But it had missed something much simpler. Humanity had already created its miracle. It came in a metal can. And the first person to discover its true power had not been a soldier. He had been a tired mechanic who refused to walk past a dying woman. Diana looked toward Earth. Billions of humans were returning to the ground. Families were finding each other. Doctors were treating the wounded. Workers were rebuilding. Children were pointing at the sky. The war was over. Something had changed forever. The galaxy no longer saw Earth as primitive. It saw Earth as the beginning of something new. Diana turned toward Baron. Thank you. He shrugged. For what? For seeing me when nobody else did. Baron looked at the broken chain. Then he looked at her. You were never worthless. Diana smiled. Above them, the surviving alien ships slowly turned away from Earth. They had arrived believing humanity was weak. They left knowing something much more frightening. Humanity had only just begun.